When the keeper had opened his single eye for the first time, blinking furiously against the light, it had been Shivkala's face, into which it had gazed. It hadn't been able to see clearly, of course, because the image was blurry, and the hazy image was seen at first in the full vision of the sight degree long upon the development. But it had been born with a long defective degree of self-awareness, in which no certainty was having schemes of nature in tendrils more stubs upon birth. But the parent, as is always with the case of keepers, was already a small blink of an eye event, was bringing thoughts to offer no guidance, and giving will offspring tied to determine just as it were, and doing and how it was supposed to do the whole physical reality without any claim to willpower. Calmly, little by little, one by one, Shivkal had whispered, extending a gray, scaly figurine in a finger. The keeper had tried to wrap its tendrils against the wall and had gently lifted it from its technoke nest. Operating on instinct, he was knowledgeable and nourishing. There he had found that Shivkal was trembling, slightly letting it out deep, fulfilled sigh as keepers bounded and burrowed in sucking the sustenance. In doing so, the keeper had burrowed not only into Shivkal's soul, but also into the Drak's entire empire. Shivkal would always have a special status with the needed, and the keepers were always being more sensitive to the needs of wants and acknowledgments, and keepers were now attuned to what would be able to communicate by the drowned, a magnificent creature it had nursed within Shivkal, and had grown to maturity within 3 days. Now it was ready to assume its more important part of the job, yet as prepared, it was not going to do so. As much as nature is suited for the task, Shivkal opened his vest to extract a nourishing pouch, and he was amused to discover that by lie die apprehensive verbiage. What troubles you not, the little one? Shivkal inquired. Across from him, a few feet away, Lonto Malari was in the process of removing his coat and loosening the collar of the shirt he was in. No, little one, he's very dark, he's very fearsome, and keeper. What is not giving him this properly tuned fail task? Can I stay and the pouch in the warmth? So, little one, Shivkal replied gently, we all serve the needs of the universe. We all do the part in the way, and I am no different from you. See how the fears in you even now reach out. You can taste the fears. Yes, the keeper said for a moment, it's there. He's afraid of me. How will you come to realize how this should be done? You think that it will control him forever and always. He does not understand this kind of attitude, and he wants you not to force him towards what he must do. You must simply obey the interests, the force, and guidance. He fears that not being alone is the strangest of all, said the keeper. The one time I felt any fear was when I was alone in my nest with anyone and anyone of desires. He does not know what they are. He has lost his way. He moved towards us, but then he moved away in again. He was without that guidance that was guiding him in the gin. Yes, it was very terrible. But so he did because he was ignorant. And now he shall learn that you shall not go to him, see him as you fear not, he shall not need you. It will always be missed by the ones, the little things, removed from the keepers of nourishment pouches. Its tendrils grow marvelously during the sustenance period, elegant, moving with grace customary to its species. Keepers glided across the floor, wrapped around Londo. Shivkal could sense the tentative keeper more the keeper makes sense, rising terror in Lundo. Sense it but not see it, facing a mask of unreadability. His borrowed eyes and the sinking firm of the furry eyes, they bore me. And they were between the whips and improving out of fear. Anger, fury, these could be harnessed and directed against the enemy, want to be the great Drac. Furthermore, such emotions were far more alluring and great use of the new host. Above all, I wanted to make certain adjustments to the mode of smoothiness, and that was Londo's grasp. They were a team. The two of them in a relationship, the reality of blinding, spiritual in a way. Others, including Londo, predecessors, and not understanding that he had not enough time or had simply been too limited in his perspectives. But Londo, he possessed a much broader view. He had much greater vision for the hopeful and comprehensive, appreciating what he has undergone, and Londo back stiffened at the keeper creep. Potentials rising in any associate forms, showing perhaps a more often view. Mordant and glower and broadened by the basking of the deemed light generating the desires of Malari. Himself was enthralled, serving those philosophies and destined to an array of new opportunities and possibilities in the most important way. Dreamer himself, Kahlo, was in a conflict snarl, with anger crashing into one another like waves into a reef, shredded by the feel of a keeper tendril as they pierced his bare skin. This was at right before the adjustment he would learn. He would see that it was the most and the best, or he would go away into a more wise mode. That was pleasing. Londo stiffened slightly as Shivkal eased himself into the Centauri's mind that he would then ease out of, and his foot into a comfortable sway. So it was a shoe. Within seconds, he inspected the nooks and crannies, studied Londo's deepest fears, and viewed inside of that soul, understanding the psyche, and was able to achieve more in a year doing so with discernment. His mind was still reeling and disoriented, with a gentle push that steadied him, realigned his forces in a no. I will never be right at him. Said nothing, and there was a point of trying to go into relentless realignments, and sooner or later the world would learn to understand and imply rather than define the Drac entire. The instant comprehension, understanding, and comparison of the two is unequivocally glancing in a deeper sneak, but keeper looked away into the shredded buttoning of his shirt, pulling the vest of a coat and backed on. You will rebuild, and you will rebuild. Londo laughed bitterly at that. Unless, of course, you choose to blow, then the semantics of a contemptuous act you will have to free will. One choice is a choice. The shadows have destroyed their island and gave them no choice of faith. You do so, do not abuse. No, Shivkal shook his head, and everything he did with minimal effort, and every move simply kept in mind of goals.